Wait for some people to get into the room. Make sure my camera's good. I'm gonna keep this simple and brief. Make sure I'm looking right at the camera. Make sure that I'm good and comfortable. Yeah, this shouldn't really come as a surprise to nobody. This shouldn't come as a surprise at all. Make sure, make sure the volume is good. Yeah. I'll give it maybe a minute or so before I start speaking. I see I have two people watching, so give it maybe about, I'll give it a little bit more before I start speaking, and then I guess I go. Sorry about the lighting. I'm still working on doing better live streams myself, doing more professional live streams. That's one of my goals for 2020, to do better live streams and to do more live streams, do them more often. So yeah, that's gonna be one of my goals for 2020. When it gets to the minute mark, okay, so I have 2 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna start speaking on. So whoever comes on, hey, welcome. For those that are watching, those that are inside the bushes watching. So I'm sure everyone knows by now who's were glued to the TV yesterday. Donald John Trump, was voted for impeachment for abuse of power and other articles. And I just want to give my 2 cents on that. That right there, it shouldn't come as a surprise to people, considering the track record that Trump has while he was in office, the things he's done before he got in office, his character, his general overall position on things as it pertains to what's going on. We all know that when he came with the slogan of making America great again, after we broke it down, he wasn't necessarily talking about making it great for all citizens of the United States. He was basically referring to those who were rich or had businesses, and possibly those who were mainstream and had the same type of substance of skin that he had. The thing is that his his rhetoric was not encompassing the entire nation as we know it. He was not referencing everybody, and the things that he's being voted against, the issues are serious. Like, take for example the list. First of all, the list of things that he's abuse of power. It's a laundry list. It goes on and on. One of the things that he's been accused of, and the biggest gripe that a lot of us have on him, is accused of being a racist. And there have been some issues of racism toward him. Before he became president, he used to be in the real estate. And it was known that he would not real estate to African Americans. He purposely would leave us out of the market as far as housing. When he was doing his housing, he was always pandering to white supremacist views, and when he would be brought up on it, he would deny it. Another things he's done that Another one thing that he did too also was when he was a senator, I believe, in New York. He actually was one of the driving forces behind the Central Park Five being indicted for the crime they didn't commit. he was also, yes, he was behind that. Donald Trump was behind that. He wasn't, back then, he wasn't considering a run for the presidency, but he was also involved in that incident also. He was involved with wanting to put these boys up on trial and then sending them away for something they didn't do. So yeah, that's also another thing. We also know about the crotch grabbing with women, and this is where I come and question this whole Me Too movement, because a majority of women also put him in office. But my issue is this: is that when he was accused of crotch grabbing and even bragging about it, possibly making fun of it, calling it locker room banter, why didn't the Me Too movement come? Why didn't you come for him then? Why didn't you come for him? It's like anytime when a man is accused of something, particularly melanated men are accused, you vote to prosecute and take this man's life away and send him away. But this man, Donald John Trump, was actually accused of crotch grabbing, but no one says anything about it to him. Then there's the whole Russiagate and the whole everything pertaining to that. When they were showing clips of the whole situation of the proceedings yesterday, his whole attitude was very lax. It's as if he was making a joke of the proceedings. But see, one thing that's for certain is that what's done in the dark is going to be exposed into the light. You see, God has his way of getting your attention. It doesn't matter how big you are or how small you are, how much money you have. Don't think for 1 minute that you can't be touched, that the rules don't apply to you. You see, you get lifted up in pride, you will fall. And there's scriptures that says that those who exalt themselves will be abased. Those who put themselves up high and mighty, that you will be brought down. You will be brought down, and you will be exposed, and you will just be humbled. So that's the thing I wanted to mention too about this whole situation with his presidency and the abuse of power. It doesn't come as a surprise. You've been the telltale signs were there, the warning signs were there, and I believe now what's going to happen, it's going to be taken to another council in January sometime. Nancy Pelosi is, for some reason, she decided to halt sending the articles to the Senate. Don't understand. I know she's the House Speaker, but why are you why are you delaying sending the articles to the Senate so they could also vote as well? See, one thing I'm also smart enough to realize is that he's been impeached, but impeachment doesn't necessarily mean removal. It's quite possible he could still sit in the office for another 4 years. You get that? He's also the third president in history to have been impeached. However, Nixon in '76 was actually resigned before his impeachment took full power. So the only one other than that would be one Bill Clinton. But so this is an abuse of power, which we all know to be true. And the thing is that what's going to happen in the days to come? Because one thing I've always said this about Trump's presidency is that one thing is definitely done for certain. The one positive I can see that came out of it is that it exposed a lot of closeted supremacists and a lot of closeted people that have certain ideologies and philosophies. It brought them out. You got a chance to see who was who. So I'm going to say that much. As far as his impeachment goes, like I said before, it's quite possible that it may not necessarily take effect, that he could possibly still sit in office. Now, the interesting thing about that is that this is an election year. So maybe it's possible that 2020 is going to be an election year. It's quite possible that maybe this could be happening then. But considering that he's already ran one term, will he be able to sit in another term? A lot of people are speculating no, but you never know what could happen. There could always be something that could be that could automatically just come out of the woodworks. So I'm not going to say never. But this is the one thing that we need to do, and I'm talking about us as Christians. We need to sit. That's why we need to sit and pray for our nation, pray for our leaders. That's why we need to stop speculating, and we need to start doing more, being more proactive, and start getting out there instead of complaining about the problem, but to pray about the problem, and perhaps maybe we could try to do something, the best do something that we could do to try to help out the situation, try to nullify this. But I want to just also add that no one is too big, no one is too powerful, no one is above the law, and that anybody could be chastised, anybody could be put in check, anybody could be brought down to the lowest common denominator. See, the same thing that happened to Nebuchadnezzar could possibly happen to Donald Trump. A lot of people are comparing him to Nebuchadnezzar. We all know what happened to him. For those of you who are not familiar with Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar is a king in the Old Testament who got lifted up in pride and refused to worship God. So what happened is, the man of God prophesied to him. He said to him that you will be brought down to the level of an animal. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't use those exact words. I'm paraphrasing. Just follow along with me. And that's exactly what happened. The king was lifted up in all of his pride. All of a sudden, he started acting like an animal. He jumped out of his palace, started running around like an animal, eating grass. Eventually, he started growing claws like a bird, started growing fur or feathers on his body. And this lasted for 7 years. 7 whole years. See, God's got his way of getting your attention. And when he wants you to do something, when he wants you to humble yourself, know that it's going to happen. By hook or crook, by voluntarily doing it or involuntarily, he's going to get what he wants. He's going to get his will is going to be fulfilled, and he's going to get what he wants, because God always wins. The way I look at it, you can do it voluntarily. You could avoid all the heartache and the embarrassment that comes with having to be humbled, because that's not a pretty sight. I don't wish any kind of harm on Donald Trump. I'm hoping he will learn his lesson from all this situation. I get the feeling that he won't. But like I was saying before, we hope that things could start to get better. Hopefully people will start to wake up and realize what's going on and see what this nation needs. I mean, you want to make America great again. One way to make America great again is to start bringing America together. And when I say America, I'm talking about everyone that encompasses America. Bring people together and stop dividing folks, because this administration was extremely divisive and exacerbated a lot of situations that were already happening. So, from what I was seeing yesterday, when he was on the screen, he was making light of the situation, making fun, making jokes, and it's as if he was approaching the situation and just saying that he didn't do anything wrong. But it's like you're making the people look like fools. You're making everyone look as if we're all idiots. And I have an issue with that. Hello, how you doing, money boy? What's going on? I have a situation. I have a problem with people trying to make an idiot out of me. A lot of things he did, he was very arrogant and condescending, saying that he didn't do anything wrong, that everyone is crazy. He was always putting himself up in the position of being the greatest, of being God. There's nothing wrong having self-confidence. That's not the problem. It's the issue of being arrogant. It's being It's pretending that you don't have a problem, but that everyone else has the problem and that everyone's picking on you. That's the issue that a lot of us have with Trump. But now he has to deal with the outcome, and he has to deal with whatever kind of blowback he's going to deal with in the preceding days until January. So we're going to see what happens. As I can say again, we need to continue to pray for our leaders, and considering that he is still a sitting president, he is still our leader, we must keep him constantly before the Lord. I know everyone's not going to agree with what I'm saying. I get that. Everyone is not going to like my particular response and what I have to say. But I'm going to say this. Fighting fire with fire is not always the best course of action because someone's going to get burned. I'm sure you've heard that before. Sometimes we do have to be the strategic ones. Never said it was going to be easy. Never said it was going to be hard. But we have to do something. We have to do something if we're going to continue to deal with this nation. Because perhaps, I will say this, one way to make America great again is to start treating America's citizens with respect. That's something that I don't really see this administration was doing. Now, they do things for business, perhaps, for big business, but at what cost? And who was it for? You see, we know that he was a businessman, and that's how he treated the presidency and the nation like a business. But it wasn't a business. This was an entire nation. And that someone else took credit for, that someone else did, he decided to take credit for. He always blamed Obama for a lot of things. Obama hasn't been in office for the last, 4 years, 8, I don't know, for how long he was been in office, the last time he was in office, he hasn't been in office for a long time now. But yet, he's always become, throwing him under the bus. He's always being the subject of a lot of his rhetoric. And that's not right. But now, hopefully, he'll get to deal with, come face to face with his actions, come face to face with what he has to deal with. Now, what does that encompass? I don't know. I'm not even sure if the whole situation with the Russia scandal is even done yet. I know he had the proceedings and the talks and the court issues with Robert Mueller. That situation didn't go well because Mueller was brought under some issues, and he was questioned about some things himself. And then you have people like Rudolph Giuliani, the former mayor of New York City, who was actually Donald Trump's lawyer. So we're going to see, though, because see, no matter what man may do, God has a way of disrupting it. See, no one can do anything past God. No one can put nothing over on him. No one can do anything that he doesn't allow to happen, and that's just what goes on. So I'm gonna just go on and say this about the 45th president of the United States. I think you need to seek the Lord. You get on your knees and you need to humble yourself. You need to apologize to the people. One thing I will say that Bill Clinton did, at least he apologized. At least he had some form of remorse or compassion for what he did. And he wanted to make those things right. So, I'm going to say this. I'm going to put this out there. But let's continue to keep our nation lifted up. And I just want to go on and say, everyone keep your heads up. Talk to y'all later.